Emily disappeared without a trace. Another year and a half passed. Spring had finally returned. The forest around the little house was green again. Birds filled the morning air with beautiful songs, and warm sunshine reached every corner of the garden. Emily was now 3 years old. She had changed so much. She ran so fast that Eliza often had to run after her just to keep her in sight. Emily loved everything she saw. Every little stone, every butterfly, every snail that appeared after the rain. Sometimes she stopped in the middle of the road because she found a leaf with an unusual shape. "Mom, look!" she laughed. "It looks like a little hand." Eliza smiled. After everything the war had taken from her, it sometimes felt like Emily had taught her how to see the world again. The little things, the beautiful things, the things people often forget. That morning, a spring fair was taking place in the nearby village. There were sweet cakes, colorful ribbons, wooden toys, music, and a small carousel that people turned by hand. For Emily, it was the first real fair she had ever visited. She looked everywhere at once. Her bright eyes were full of excitement. She rode the little wooden horse again and again. She tasted a caramel apple for the first time and laughed because it stuck to her fingers. Then she stopped at a small table covered with ribbons. "I like the blue one," she said. "It looks like the sky." Eliza bought the ribbon and carefully tied it into Emily's golden hair. "There," she smiled. "Now everyone will know exactly where my little girl is." Emily laughed and hugged her mother. For a while, everything felt perfect. Children were playing. People were singing. The smell of fresh bread and flowers filled the air. For a few wonderful moments, Eliza almost forgot there had ever been a war. Then she stopped for just a second. A woman was selling beautiful linen cloth. Eliza looked down to read the price, only for a moment, no more than 10 seconds. When she looked up, Emily was gone. At first, Eliza was not worried. Emily was curious. She probably ran to another stand. "Emily," she called. No answer. She checked behind a wagon, near the carousel, between the market stalls. Nothing. "Emily!" Her voice became louder. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Her heart began beating faster. She asked everyone she met, "Have you seen a little girl? Blonde hair, a blue ribbon?" Some people shook their heads, others pointed in different directions. "I think she ran that way." "No, maybe over there." Everyone had a different answer. After half an hour, everyone at the fair knew a little girl was missing. The men searched the forest paths. The women looked near the river. Children searched behind wagons and market tents. But Emily was nowhere. Eliza felt the old fear returning, the same fear she had carried through the war, the fear she thought she had left behind forever. Her hands were shaking. Her breathing became faster. She could barely think. What if someone had taken her? What if she had wandered into the forest? What if she couldn't finish the thought? Tears filled her eyes. She whispered only one sentence. "Please. Not again." Just then, an elderly man wearing an old hat walked toward her. His face looked kind. His eyes were calm. "Are you Emily's mother?" he asked. "Yes," Eliza answered immediately. "Please, have you seen her?" The old man smiled gently. "Don't be afraid. I saw her." Eliza felt hope return. Where? She was talking to someone near the old chapel. Without saying another word, Eliza ran. The chapel stood on a small hill away from the busy fair. Its wooden door was slightly open. Everything inside was quiet. Cool air filled the room. Sunlight entered through the old colored windows. On the first bench sat Emily. Completely calm, she was quietly talking to someone, but there was nobody beside her. Emily! The little girl turned around, her face lit up with a smile. Mommy! Eliza ran to her and hugged her as tightly as she could. I've been looking everywhere. I was so scared. Emily looked surprised, but I didn't go anywhere. What do you mean? I stayed here. You disappeared. Emily shook her head. I was waiting. For who? She pointed toward the beautiful stained glass window. For Grandpa. Eliza slowly looked in that direction. There was no one. What Grandpa? Emily smiled. He was old. He had a walking stick. He was very kind. He told me never to follow strangers. He said I should stay here until my mommy came. A cold feeling ran through Eliza. She carefully looked around the chapel again. It was completely empty. No footsteps, no voices, nothing. When they walked outside, Eliza looked for the old man who had shown her the chapel. He was gone. She asked people nearby. Nobody had seen him. The shopkeepers had been standing there all day. None of them remembered an old man wearing a hat. It was as if he had never existed. On the walk home, Emily held her mother's hand tightly. The little blue ribbon danced softly in the warm spring breeze. After a long silence, Emily looked up. Mommy? Yes? You don't have to cry anymore. Eliza smiled sadly. Why do you say that? Emily answered as naturally as if she had just spoken to a friend. Because Daddy said we're going to be okay now. Eliza suddenly stopped walking. Her heart skipped a beat. Daddy! Emily nodded. He was smiling. He said he will always find the way back to us. Even if we can't see him. Neither of them spoke again for the rest of the journey. That evening, after Emily had fallen asleep, Eliza sat quietly by the window. Marcus's old watch rested on the table. It was still broken. The hands had not moved for a long time. She looked at it for several minutes. Then she smiled for the first time in many months. Not because the pain had disappeared. It never would, but because something inside her had changed. For the first time since Marcus was gone, she no longer felt completely alone. She had the strange feeling that someone was still watching over them, still protecting them. Outside, the night became quiet. The stars slowly appeared above the forest. Then something caught Eliza's attention. Hanging from the branch of the old apple tree was a small blue ribbon, the same ribbon Emily had lost at the fair. It moved gently in the air, back and forth, but every window in the house was closed, and outside, there was no wind.